The scene was a gruesome spectacle. Martha's body bore signs of a brutal assault. Detective Owens noted the blood pooled around Martha and the severe injuries she had sustained. It was evident that she had been struck with a blunt object. Moreover, some parts of her body were missing, adding to the disturbing nature of the crime. Initially, the officers speculated that a wild animal might have attacked Martha posthumously. Ryan Jenkins, the hiker who discovered Martha, was visibly distraught. He recounted his experience to the police, detailing everything from the moment he found the body. The police expressed their gratitude for his cooperation and assured him that they would uncover the truth. Detective Owens and Officer Davis promptly secured the area to preserve any potential evidence. They summoned a team of forensic experts to assist in collecting clues. The experts utilized tools such as cameras to document the scene meticulously and special kits to gather samples of blood and other potential evidence. They donned gloves to prevent contamination. The police meticulously pieced together the events leading to Martha's death. They discovered sleeping pills in her system, suggesting that she had been drugged prior to the attack. This revelation was made by Dr. Linda Bastardi, the medical examiner who conducted Martha's autopsy. Dr. Bastardi was a seasoned medical examiner known for her precision. As the investigation progressed, the police unearthed a baseball bat stained with blood hidden beneath nearby bushes. This was likely the weapon used to assault Martha. They collected fingerprints and any trace DNA from the bat. The scene was drenched in blood, indicating a violent struggle. Detective Owens questioned individuals in the park and surrounding areas to gather any information about unusual sights or sounds. A few witnesses reported hearing strange noises in the evening, but had dismissed them at the time. These fragments of information were added to the growing case file. The local news, including TV stations like WKRN and newspapers like the Tennessean, extensively covered the case. The residents of Franklin were gripped by fear, unable to believe that such a heinous crime had occurred in their tranquil town. Detective Owens reassured the public that they were exhausting all resources to identify the perpetrator responsible for Martha's death. As the investigation unfolded, the police recognized the urgency to solve this horrendous crime and deliver justice for Martha and her family. The first individual they scrutinized was Thomas J. Embroll, Martha's 61-year-old husband. Thomas worked as an insurance agent and was known for being a devoted spouse and parent. However, he had recently exhibited signs of stress due to financial difficulties. Thomas was the one who alerted the authorities when Martha failed to return home from work. He was brought in for questioning at the Franklin Police Department by Detective Sarah Owens and Officer Mark Davis. The interrogation room was compact and silent, furnished with merely a table and a few chairs. Thomas appeared visibly distressed and fatigued. Detective Owens initiated the questioning by asking Thomas to recap the events of the day Martha vanished. Thomas recounted that he last saw Martha as she left for work in the morning. He grew concerned when she did not return by dinner time. His attempts to reach her on her cell phone were unsuccessful. He contacted some of her friends and colleagues, but no one had any information. Eventually, he contacted the police early the following morning. The police inquired about Thomas and Martha's financial situation, given the recent stress he had been experiencing. Thomas acknowledged their financial struggles but vehemently denied harming Martha. He shared their plans for a family vacation to Disney World and their anticipation of spending quality time together. Throughout the interrogation, Thomas's emotional state was palpable. He was cooperative and responded to all questions, but his distress was evident. The police asked about any marital issues or potential enemies Martha may have had. Thomas maintained that their marriage was solid and they frequently engaged in intimate relations. He could not fathom anyone wanting to harm her. The police conducted a search of Thomas's office and vehicle for any indications of his involvement in Martha's death, but found nothing suspicious. His colleagues described him as a diligent and honest individual, although they had noticed his heightened stress levels recently. Thomas's alibi held up. Neighbors confirmed his presence at home during the time Martha went missing, and his phone records indicated calls to friends and family in search of her. Although the financial difficulties could have provided a motive, there was no concrete evidence implicating Thomas in the crime. As the investigation progressed, Thomas remained a person of interest, but the police required more evidence to ascertain his involvement. The hunt for Martha's killer continued as the police explored other potential suspects. The second individual they scrutinized was Samantha Riley, a 27-year-old colleague of Martha's at Franklin High School. Samantha was known for her assertive and outspoken demeanor. Martha had been observed arguing with her a few days prior to her disappearance, sparking speculation about a possible motive. Detective Sarah Owens and Officer Mark Davis brought Samantha in for questioning at the Franklin Police Department. Samantha arrived appearing anxious but resolute. The interrogation room was the same small, quiet space where Thomas had been questioned. Detective Owens commenced the interrogation by inquiring about Samantha's relationship with Martha. Samantha revealed that they had worked together in the school library for several years and generally had a cordial relationship. However, tensions had recently arisen due to Martha allegedly sexually harassing Samantha, making inappropriate comments and unwanted physical advances. Samantha asserted that their argument stemmed from this harassment. When questioned about her whereabouts on the day Martha disappeared, Samantha stated that she had returned home after work and remained there. She resided alone in a nearby small apartment. The police attempted to corroborate her alibi, but no one could verify her presence at home that evening. Detective Owens probed Samantha about her potential involvement in Martha's death. Samantha became defensive and emotional, vehemently denying any involvement. She admitted her distress over the harassment but maintained that she would never harm Martha. Samantha's reaction was a blend of anger and fear as she felt unjustly accused due to the harassment she had experienced. The police conducted a search of Samantha's apartment for any evidence linking her to the crime, but found none. However, they discovered notes from the school regarding the harassment complaint, which substantiated Samantha's account of their argument. The police also interviewed Samantha's colleagues. Some mentioned that Martha, known for her earthy humor, had been making more off-color remarks lately. However, none believed Samantha capable of such violence. They described her as a passionate yet kind individual who frequently stood up for herself and others. Despite the absence of concrete evidence, the police continued to view Samantha as a suspect due to her recent altercation with Martha. As the investigation progressed, the police persisted in their search for additional clues. Samantha's case remained open, but without solid evidence, the police were compelled to explore other potential suspects to unravel the mystery of Martha's tragic demise. On May 21, 2005, Franklin, Tennessee basked in warm and sunny weather. Around 10 a.m., Detective Sarah Owens received a call from Officer Mark Davis regarding new evidence in the case. Dr. Linda Bastardi, an avid runner and coincidentally a championship winner, had discovered something unusual while running in the woods near Franklin Park. She frequently ran in the mornings and was familiar with the area. Linda had noticed a torn piece of clothing in a small metal box concealed under some leaves. She promptly contacted the police, recalling Martha Embroll's murder. Detective Owens and Officer Davis hastened to the scene. They expressed their gratitude to Linda for her assistance and began examining the new evidence. The torn piece of clothing corresponded with the outfit Martha had been seen wearing on the day she vanished. Inside the metal box, they found several handwritten notes and peculiar drawings. The notes appeared to be penned by someone in distress, expressing feelings of entrapment and a desire to escape. The drawings were dark and unsettling, depicting violent scenes and strange symbols. Detective Owens meticulously secured the evidence and transported it to the police station for further examination. They enlisted a handwriting expert to compare the notes with writing samples from individuals connected to the case. The expert determined that the notes were authored by Jace Embroll, Martha's 17-year-old son. This revelation held significant implications. Jace had been grappling with severe psychological issues, frequently experiencing vivid hallucinations and delusions exacerbated by his marijuana addiction. Martha had uncovered his fixation on cannibalism and had been endeavoring to secure the help he urgently needed. However, she encountered resistance from insurance companies and healthcare providers. The police deemed it necessary to interrogate Jace again, this time more extensively. The third suspect under investigation was Jace Embrell, Martha's 17-year-old son. Jace attended Franklin High School, where his mother worked. His behavior had recently become increasingly unpredictable, and his family was aware of his intense hallucinations and delusions, aggravated by his persistent marijuana use. Detective Sarah Owens and Officer Mark Davis escorted Jace to the Franklin Police Department for questioning. The interrogation room was the same small, tranquil space utilized previously. Jace appeared apprehensive and disoriented, fidgeting in his seat. Detective Owens initiated the interrogation by inquiring about Jace's relationship with his mother. Jace portrayed Martha as a loving and nurturing mother who consistently attempted to support him. He stated that she was the only person who truly understood him and was always present for him. However, he also expressed feeling immense pressure and stress from striving to fulfill her expectations and coping with his own mental health challenges. When questioned about the day his mother disappeared, Jace's responses were disjointed and inconsistent. He mentioned spending the day at home smoking marijuana and playing video games. The police found his alibi flimsy and unpersuasive. They decided to delve deeper, inquiring about his recent online activity. Jace confessed to participating in an online community that discussed cannibalism and other dark subjects. He explained that he was drawn to these discussions because they offered a sense of understanding and belonging. Jace's demeanor during the interrogation was erratic. At times he seemed composed and detached. At other times, he was visibly agitated and distressed. The police also conducted a search of Jace's room for additional evidence. They discovered unsettling drawings and notes similar to those found earlier. These drawings depicted violent scenes and peculiar symbols. The notes exposed Jace's profound psychological turmoil and fascination with cannibalism. Among his possessions, they also found a blood-stained baseball bat, which matched the weapon used in Martha's murder. Detective Owens directly questioned Jace about his involvement in his mother's death. Jace initially denied any wrongdoing, but then made a chilling statement. "My mom tasted like Lunchables." This harrowing admission confirmed the police's gravest suspicions. Jace had not only murdered his mother, but had also consumed her body, believing it would grant him her strength and wisdom. With this confession, the police amassed sufficient evidence to charge Jace with the murder of his mother, Martha Embrell. The investigation now focused on ensuring justice was served for Martha and her grieving family. On May 23, 2005, Franklin, Tennessee, was enveloped in a light drizzle under overcast skies. The police were now convinced that Jace Embrell, Martha's 17-year-old son, was the perpetrator of her murder. Jace's confession, coupled with the evidence discovered in his room, provided a clear picture of the events that transpired. Jace was under the delusion that consuming his mother's flesh would grant him her strength and wisdom. This belief stemmed from his marijuana-induced psychosis and was further encouraged by an online community that glorified cannibalism. Detective Sarah Owens and Officer Mark Davis decided to apprehend Jace. They arrived at the Embrell residence around 11 a.m. Jace was in his room, engrossed in music and playing Grand Theft Auto, when the police knocked on his door. Jace appeared dazed and disoriented. Detective Owens informed him that he was being arrested for the murder of his mother, Martha Embrell. Jace did not resist arrest. He remained calm but seemed to be in a state of shock as he was escorted out of the house in handcuffs. The media, including reporters from TV stations like WKRN and newspapers like the Tennessean, had gathered outside. Jace shocked everyone by shouting, "My mom tasted like Lunchables," as he was taken away. The case against Jace presented the grisly evidence and his confession. The prosecutor, Matthew, argued that Jace, influenced by his severe mental illness and the online cannibalism community, had brutally murdered his mother. He emphasized the premeditated nature of the crime and its horrific details, advocating for the maximum penalty. Jace was represented by Rachel Breezy Kelly, a 38-year-old defense attorney known for her calm demeanor and strong reputation for defending troubled youths. She contended that Jace's actions were a result of his severe mental illness and marijuana-induced psychosis. Rachel Kelly stressed that Jace required psychiatric help, not a harsh prison sentence. She presented evidence of Jace's lengthy history of mental health issues and his mother's attempts to secure treatment, which were thwarted by insurance companies and healthcare providers. The jury deliberated for 3 days before reaching a verdict on September 15, 2005. They found Jace Embrell guilty of first-degree murder. The judge, considering Jace's mental health issues, sentenced him to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years, also mandating psychiatric treatment. The verdict elicited mixed reactions. Alan Matthews, the prosecutor, believed justice had been served, ensuring that Jace would be held accountable for his actions. Rachel Breezy Kelly, the defense attorney, expressed relief that Jace would receive psychiatric help, but had hoped for a more lenient sentence. Martha's family was devastated, but relieved that the trial had concluded. Thomas Embrell, Jace's father, grappled with the outcome, torn between his love for his son and the horror of losing his wife in such a brutal manner. Friends and neighbors felt the sentence was fair, balancing justice for Martha and the need for Jace to receive treatment. The trial's conclusion left the community in Franklin trying to heal. The media coverage had been extensive, and many hoped that the case would bring attention to the challenges families face when seeking mental health treatment. The Embrell family, supported by the community, began the long process of moving forward, honoring Martha's memory and coping with the tragic loss. After the trial of Jace Embrell, life in Franklin, Tennessee, slowly returned to normal. The Embrell family, still reeling from the tragic loss of Martha, tried to piece their lives back together. Thomas Embrell, Martha's husband, sought solace in his work as an insurance agent, finding distraction and purpose in helping his clients. Jace Embrell, now serving his sentence at Riverbend Maximum Security Institution, received psychiatric treatment as part of his rehabilitation. His case brought attention to the gaps in mental health care, prompting discussions about improving access to treatment for those in need. As time passed, the wounds left by Martha's death began to heal, though the pain of her absence remained. The family found solace in memories of happier times, cherishing the moments they had shared together. Thomas focused on providing a stable and loving home for their surviving children, Cricket and Boost, who struggled to understand the loss of their mother. In the years following Martha's death, the Embrell family found moments of peace and healing amidst the pain. They honored Martha's memory through acts of kindness and service, keeping her spirit alive in their hearts. The community of Franklin continued to offer support, standing together in solidarity against the darkness that had touched their lives. The case of Martha Embrell is a stark reminder of the devastating impact of mental illness and the importance of accessible mental health care. Martha's story is one of love, dedication, and a tragic end that could have been prevented. Join us next time on True Crime Case Files, where we uncover the stories behind the headlines. Thank you for listening. True crime case solvers interested in more real-life murder mysteries, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Do you have any thoughts about this case, or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe, True Crime Case Solvers. In this chilling tale, we explore a true horror story that unfolded in the heart of Franklin, Tennessee. In the month of May 2005, a mother's love unveiled her son's lethal secrets, a revelation that left the entire community in shock. This is the narrative of Martha Embrell, a cherished librarian, and the spine-tingling sequence of events that culminated in her untimely demise. Martha Embrell, a woman of 46 years, resided in the quaint town of Franklin, Tennessee. She served as a librarian at the local Franklin High School, a role in which she was deeply admired by both students and faculty. Martha's warm smile was ever present, and she found great joy in assisting students in discovering literature that resonated with them. Her passion for reading was infectious, and she yearned for everyone to share her love for books. Martha also found solace in gardening. During her weekends, she would dedicate countless hours to nurturing her flower beds. Her garden was a vibrant spectacle of blossoms that added a cheerful touch to her residence. Beyond her affection for books and gardening, Martha's most profound love was reserved for her family. She was a mother to 3 children, Jace, a teenager of 17 years, and 8-year-old twins, Cricket and Boost. Martha was a dedicated parent who prioritized her children's needs above all else, often assisting them with their academic pursuits. Thomas J. Embrell, Martha's spouse, was an insurance agent by profession. Despite his hectic work schedule, Thomas and Martha always ensured they had quality time for their family. They frequently enjoyed meals together and shared a love for watching films. As May 2005 rolled around, Martha was engrossed in planning a summer getaway for her family. The prospect of visiting Disney World filled the children with anticipation. At Franklin High School, Martha was gearing up for the academic year's conclusion. She aided students in returning their borrowed books and engaged in discussions about their summer reading plans. Martha even coordinated a book fair to inspire students to read during their break. Her colleagues held her dedication and work ethic in high regard. Martha's acquaintances often described her as benevolent and compassionate. She always made herself available to lend an ear or offer assistance. She was a unifying force, a person who brought people together. Her home was a frequent gathering spot for friends and neighbors. Martha relished hosting barbecues and garden parties where she would serve homemade delicacies and impart gardening advice. Mere days before her untimely death, Martha was in high spirits, looking forward to the future. She spoke of cultivating new flowers in her garden and meticulously planning her family's summer excursion to Disney World. Her sudden death sent shockwaves through everyone who knew her, leaving an emptiness in the community that held her in such high esteem. On the morning of May 18, 2005, Franklin, Tennessee, was graced with clear skies and a cool breeze, the ideal conditions for an outdoor adventure. Around 7:30 a.m., Thomas J. Embrell, Martha's husband, filed a missing person report. Martha had failed to return home from work the previous day, a behavior that was highly unusual for her. Later that day, a local hiker named Ryan Jenkins decided to take a stroll in the nearby Franklin Park. This park was a favorite among locals for its numerous trails and picnic spots. As Ryan meandered along a secluded path, he noticed something out of the ordinary. He spotted a figure lying in the bushes off the trail. Driven by curiosity and a hint of concern, he approached the figure. To his utter dismay, Ryan realized it was the lifeless body of a naked woman. He swiftly identified her from the local news as Martha Embrell, the missing librarian. Ryan's entire being was filled with fear and shock. His hands quivered as he retrieved his cell phone to dial 911. He relayed his horrifying discovery to the operator and anxiously awaited the arrival of the police, attempting to maintain his composure. The news of Martha's demise sent shockwaves throughout the community. Local TV channels such as WKRN and newspapers like the Tennessean reported the incident, leaving the public both heartbroken and terrified. Martha was a beloved figure in the community, and her loss was deeply felt. As the news circulated, further details about the investigation surfaced. However, the exact cause of Martha's death remained a mystery. The community eagerly awaited updates from the police, hoping for some clarity. On May 18, 2005, at approximately 2 p.m., the police arrived at the crime scene in Franklin Park. Detective Sarah Owens and Officer Mark Davis, renowned for their meticulous work, took charge of the investigation. They cautiously approached the area where Martha's body lay.